I'm going to play a bunch of videos, and it's going to feel like whiplash. This is from February, emotional whiplash. February 16th, 2023. You really are my safe space. My own brain is my worst enemy. It literally attacks me from the inside out. It's helpful knowing I'm not alone in that. I feel tortured every minute of every day. I literally feel like I'm constantly fighting with myself, and it's so draining. The 14-minute mark. And
For creator. But I also want to help people get unaddicted to TikTok and help people get stuff done and not do a bunch of crazy editing and just make it like nice to listen to. And I do want to include some clips and stuff, and I'm going to make short videos that are super edited and fun, but I'm just going to have a ton of long form content that you can like go engage in the world to, go ride a bike, go to the gym. Like, I love listening to, when I really would get into long form content, it's been a dream of, like, it helped me so much. And it's been a dream of mine my entire life to be that person. Like, I have always wanted to be the person that people like put on YouTube and they're like, okay, Allie, like, I know Allie gets it. Like, I know Allie, I'm going to cry. Like, I know that Allie would never judge me. Like, I've always wanted to be that person. And like, if I can make people feel like I felt when I found like Sarah Hendricks or Russ, like, I know I'm not as like educated as those people, but I'm just saying, like, I just want people. Damn, I started crying hard. Shoot, boys. Yeah, because I love y'all. I really do. And like, you guys make me feel.
Just want to remember, when you're watching social media content that isn't here on this channel, where we don't edit either in our heads or on video, it's all live. Choice to put things in there. I'm going to put a clip of something else that came up right after we watched 2 clips from this one. The next one of which I really actually agree with and enjoy was like, is this coming out of Allie's mouth? And I was like, also so fucking ironic after what she's cost everyone, especially me.
Feel like that person. Like, I know I already am that person to a lot of people, and it's something that I really have to like realize, because it's amazing. And you guys have made me feel like that person, and I want to become that person even more, because I'm a really like hard person on TikTok. And I've needed to like let that side of myself out, but I just want my YouTube channel to be like this thing that makes people like feel like they can keep going, and that they've never been weird, and that you've never been alone, and that like, I've just been so tortured for so many years, and I was so fucking alone. And it's so amazing that because of TikTok, as messed up as that app is, that like, finally I get to tell my story. And I thought that maybe this would really never happen.
All right, I'm jumping time points to whatever this one is.
You don't need to have a family that, like, life is hard. And whatever you do have, love that shit. Nobody has it all. And the people who act like they have it all, it's an actual joke. And I've gotten close to a lot of people who act like they have it all, and they're full of shit. And no amount of accomplishments, no amount of money, no amount of accolades, no amount of material possessions is ever going to make you feel anything. And that's the biggest joke of it all. And that's why people lose their fucking minds when they get a lot of stuff, or when they get the thing they thought they wanted the most, or when they, like, I have 500,000 followers on TikTok. I thought that would, if you told me that, even now, if I hear about someone else, I'm like, damn. But myself, there's no gauge of it in my mind. I'm like, well, it's not 1 million. It's not a million. Like, I'm not making the content I want to make. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Like, it's our brains are crazy. That's what I'm saying. Enjoy what you have today. Hug your kid if you have a kid. I don't want kids, but if you have one, you should hug them and be grateful for them and all the things, right? And I'm sure they're grateful for you, and you're doing an amazing job. If you have kids, please give yourself the most compassion. Oh my God. All of us are doing the best we can. I just want people to take pressure off. Take it off. You can take it off. You are normal. You are not weird, and you are not going to die. That's what I believe. But while we're here, sorry, I just picked my nose like that. I was itching. I didn't really pick it. It was an itch. But I really don't believe, like, that gives me hope. And maybe that's bypassing in my mind. I don't know, but I've done a lot of research about death. We're going to talk about this a lot, because not enough people talk about it and our fears about it and the science around it. And I think there's so much science around, even quantum entanglement, even though it doesn't prove the...
All right, so that was, what was it, February something or other? 16th? Is that what it was? Yes, February 16th, 2023. Roll tape, Allie. Roll tape on you being so compassionate. So compassionate. We'll just let this.
And she believes that she could save the world.
No, she knows she can save the world. She knows she is doing it, but...
Yeah, it's literally the exact same thing. Yeah, it's the exact same thing as the woman who killed her baby, except for that woman seemed even more sane than Jubilee. Yeah. Yeah. So this woman won't stop. I finally, have my reports going. I have no compassion for her anymore. Like, she knows.
If I had it up and ready, the clip of when we had our one-on-one conversation, October 1st. And she explained her compassion was not having CPS called on me. She's given no indication besides from her imagination where I'm killing my child to frame her, given no indication why CPS should be called. And using CPS as a weapon in any way, shape, or form is not acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable for influencers to do it, and their entire following should stop them. And that's not what happens on social media. They, of course, back up the influencer cult leader. That is what the social media is. A little more of this one, and then I'll get the next one ready.
Knows what she's doing. She's making her choice. And this is just like watching somebody self-destruct in flames. And now she's going to go after a bunch of other people and make a huge mess. And now all the people she's gone after have different backing. And these lawyers are going to shut her down. So have fun with that, Jubilee. And she says that her attorneys are God. Like, she was like, well, my attorney is God. Oh, is that what you're going to say in a courtroom when they're talking about your kid?
Right? Why are they in a courtroom talking about my kid because I'm making social media content? Why the fuck are we in a courtroom talking about my kid because of social media content, Allie Priestley? You roped the Feltons in, and Caitlin's in this one. Who else? Oh, my family. Tirza. Oh, good times. I feel like I have something else up and running, or maybe not. Did I copy and paste something? Let's see what we got. Oh, yeah. So, social media people lie. They lie for money. They lie for ego. This one happens to be from March 25th, 2024. Influencers insanity. I mean, I don't think it's linked currently because, we're doing things on the fly. But yeah, we're watching from this point for the next few minutes. And I suggest watching the whole thing because it, explains what she's going to say here.
Influencers are lying and portraying their lifestyles to be a certain way, and us as the viewers just take it at face value and we believe it. Some people might look at this guy's morning routine and think to themselves, oh yeah, I need to start waking up at 5 a.m. too. I need to journal. I need to drink electrolytes and get in the sauna and take a cold shower. Some young mom might see this girl's videos and think, oh, her baby goes to sleep at midnight and sleeps until noon. Sweet, I'm going to try and get my baby on that schedule too. But what if these creators don't even live that way? In that case, you're trying to emulate something that doesn't exist. This is why we shouldn't compare ourselves to these influencers, and we should not try to adopt their lifestyles, because it very well could all be fake. You guys, lying about certain scenarios and the times that they're taking place is so unbelievably common with influencers. And you can catch a lot of it if you look really closely. Here's a video of somebody claiming that she woke up at 4 a.m. to make rice pudding before she has to go catch a flight to New York in a couple of hours. But the clock on the stove says 7 something.
So that was one what I was putting, was the part about the impact of people believing the lie that influencers tell. The clip, I'm going to play the very beginning of this video, both, and like I said, it is linked in the description, but this part kind of showcases a bunch of the lies quickly.
You guys, lying about certain scenarios and the times that they're taking place is so unbelievably common with influencers. And you can catch a lot of it if you look really closely. This video is titled, How Much I Spend in a Day. That's all good and dandy until you look at the receipts and you see that they're all from different days.
Ryan finished the race seconds behind in second, but I asked my oldest son what he learned, and he said to work hard like dad.
Except for these results are posted publicly, and he did not come in second place. He came in 32nd place.
For the last month, I've been saving up all of our honey jars so I could turn our paint into a gummy bear paint display.
Really? You saved up all of your honey jars for the past month just so you could do this project? No, you didn't. You bought these bear-shaped honey jars on Amazon for $19.99. This is pathological liar type behavior because it's such a small, insignificant detail to feel the need to lie about.
I don't think it was, though. I think specifically that's what, and then she has another one on rage baiting, which is also part of the huge problem on social media, is that giving false information or doing something that will make everybody angry is a surefire way to make something go viral. A lot of times it's done unintentionally, but then you can figure out how to use that and make anger work for you. And everybody's nervous system is paying the price. This is, do I have anything else up and running? Oh, this is the same one. It's talking specifically about making money as an influencer. When you're saying Amazon storefront and buy the thing that I'm wearing and the thing that I'm using, and I'm saying to use it, we live in an influencer culture where their integrity is what they're selling. And you can't distinguish. I'm going to play a Jordan Peterson clip where he's, should we do that one first? Yeah, let's do that one first, then we'll come back to this one because I feel like it's very relevant. He's talking about women choosing men, right? What is the title of this talk? And he's sitting with his wife. How to get a woman's attention. We're like, this is as far as I basically got into it, was enough to timestamp this. Yeah. So women can have babies at 13, 14. All of our human species, our prefrontal cortex isn't fully formed until 25 to understand the consequence of our actions. Our entire patriarchal, ableist as fuck white supremacy society is set up for women to have babies as young as and as stupid as possible, because then they're hooked, right? Like that's what cults do, is they have you have babies really, really young, have men have multiple wives if possible, just like as much. But let's listen to his take on narcissism, because this is very relevant to the influencers and dating and families and all of it. But Jordan P, is putting it on the women, right? They should know the difference between a narcissist and a what? A fucking what? Bear?
The wisdom of the woman, obviously. But, well, it does, because, you know, narcissists can fool naive women. That's why narcissists propagate, by the way. And we know this because narcissistic psychopaths, young women are more likely to fall for narcissistic psychopaths. And the reason for that is they can't tell them from competent men, because narcissistic psychopaths imitate competence, and that's their niche. And so they have a confidence that isn't justified by their ability. But the women check out the confidence as a marker of ability, and the falsely confident can fool them, especially if they're young and naive. And so
when you raise men to be narcissistic, to have everything revolve around them and their needs and their emotions and their entitlement, you have a grown-ass man putting that on the woman, right? This is what the patriarchy is. Back to the influencers and making money off of us.
But this also got me thinking about the possibility of influencers buying things like clothing. Then they wear it for a video, they show it off, their followers are asking, oh my gosh, where'd you get that PJ set? It's so cute. They send them a link, they earn a commission, and then they return the PJ set and get all their money back. So essentially they can make some money without having to spend that money. A big part of an influencer's job is to share new things on their platform that their followers might be interested in buying. But it can get really expensive to constantly be purchasing and showcasing all these new things all the time. So I think there's a real possibility that influencers will buy things, show them in a video, and then return them after that content goes live and get that money back. Not saying she's doing that here. We don't know that. I'm just saying it's possible. It's something I'm thinking about that I've never considered before. This particular PJ set is from Skims, and the top costs $54 and the bottoms are $64. Quite expensive, $118 total. But remember that the more expensive the item is that the influencer is recommending to you, the more commission they make. She's going to make more money off of a $118 PJ set than a $50 PJ set. So it makes me wonder, are influencers purchasing more expensive, higher-end items because they're going to make more money on it? Her comments are full of people asking for links to her necklace, her bedding, her jacket, and yes, her pajamas. Everything featured in this video is an opportunity to make money, and I feel like the tag left on the PJs tells us a story about how influencers may operate their businesses. Okay, we've been working hard to spot the sneaky lies, but here's one that is way more obvious, almost to a comic.
So not the cleaning one, I think. We're not watching this one. Not because it's not good, but because we probably watched enough of this one. It's linked in the description. I forgot what I had up and running. Just want to go back and look. I'm not familiar with this child actor, although it's now coming up on my list a lot because I've watched it. Look, it came out on April 30th. So many things, April 30th. I think this is the part.
She would bring a highly academic book, which was somehow cryptic.
Sorry, yeah, I might rewind it a bit just to hear, but like this is a child on set with lecherous men having then been blacklisted because her father basically wanted her to make more money, and then their family went from making a ton of money in Hollywood to having her not be able to land any gigs, and then she's back on set, lecherous men, and how does she keep them off? Again, naive women should be able to tell the narcissist in the 50s, like, there aren't that many narcissist sociopaths in the world. So all the women can't fall for them at once, except for like the twindler swizzlers. Whatever that word is, my brain's trying to put together. The scam artists, right, who are dating multiple people. Not poly, that is open and consensual. What was my point? Play the video. That's my point.
Tonight to them, once the men saw her with their advances, but she eventually found a way to keep the vultures at bay. As it turned out, intellectual women scared the men on the sets, When Diana went to work, she would bring a highly academic book, which was somehow kryptonite to them. Once the men saw her with it, they stayed away from her. Diana's personal life continued to change, but not in a happy way. After a decade of marriage, she and Ayers divorced. Following the split,
And child actors, Hollywood. We have the world we so very clearly created. The world of, like, Jordan Peterson's acting like we should care about narcissism and dating. All of the narcissist people on YouTube are acting like we should care about when our parents, and you should, right? Like, your parents, your kids, your one-on-one relationships being narcissistic is the problem. But the bigger problem is that exactly what Jordan Peterson said, and I'm going to replay it actually, isn't just about naive little girls and boys. It's the politicians. It's everybody around the fucking boardroom. And the bigger ego wins. The biggest dick wins. It's them projecting that onto the women. Biggest chest, biggest. We're fucking animal. We're animals. Pretending not to be. We're spiritual, pretending not to be. Part of an ecosystem we're pretending not to be. And we're playing a pretend game of make-believe that is our economic system, is our social system of multiple cults. When we were somewhat segregated into one culture, that is, as an individual, you were raised in one culture. You weren't being pulled in 20 different directions. You either fit in or you didn't. Life is so much more complex now, and we are global, for better or for worse. We have the technology that we got, that we created. We've gotten to where we are. I'm gonna see. Women are narcissists with low competence. Wonder what else he has to say, but we're not gonna listen to what else he has to say. I'm just gonna play the exact same thing again and realize that it's about politicians and Mount Stupid, Dunning-Kruger, right, is the graph of what competence and confidence. When people have when they first start learning something, they get very high confidence very fast. Then they realize how much they don't know, and their confidence tanks. Meanwhile, their competence is slowly gaining. So you don't regain the confidence you have right at the beginning when you're a noob. It takes you a long time to get back there. Narcissists just park there. They're just the best at all the things they've ever encountered. And we believe them as constituents, as students in classrooms, as like we hand over our nervous system to these people, in our families, in our, like, when you can see the lie, when you have an actual relationship with them, like he's suggesting in a romantic relationship, or like all the narcissistic content on YouTube, it's a very different dynamic than an influencer narcissism and a cult dynamic narcissism, which is what we've all joined, because ever since there's been celebrities and we've been a global species of like, long before there was even the pictures, the Hollywood, there was kings, queens. You wouldn't even necessarily know what they looked like, except someone might have sketched it and had put it up on a billboard. But yeah, he does not seem to be a very good father or husband. He seems to just have picked a good woman who kind of tolerates him, like the opposite of the couple in gender dynamics. I mean, opposite in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, whatever that movie's called. Jordan Peterson said he will shame men for having emotions and reward them for ruthlessness, and they pass that anger on to non-men. Yep, and to boys and to other men and to anyone they see of as less than. And there are like very useful ways to use, well, every part of what we are but like that we've catered all of society to like not pissing off the testosterone instead of like, how do the people who make the testosterone and have the testosterone control the fucking testosterone and don't put it on little girls and boys and, you know, right? Like, actually, and in our current, in all society, lions, it's just gonna keep coming back to fucking lions. Lions on the Serengeti and having, when a new lion takes over the pride, they kill the cubs, so or drive them away if they're old enough, and that either equals death because they can't hunt on their own, or not. The females kill their own, or sorry, each other's cubs from playing too rough and not understanding what, I don't know, what kittens are, they do or don't, except the litter is one of their own. You know, we either accept them and we're going to protect them as part of the pride, or we eat them, or kill them. Maybe don't eat them, because part of it is that, anyway. The whole lion dynamic. What am I talking about? Oh, the patriarchy and the every time I hear patriarchy, I hear my kid. Is this about the patriarchy? Yes, it is. Everything's about the patriarchy. Every fucking thing, but also, no. I forgot what I was saying. I'm just going to play Jordan Peterson. But first, right, politicians, not naive little girls in the one-on-one relationship. Every position of power, the narcissistic, sociopathic Pareto distribution 1% of our species that's really fucking good at this is who we put in charge of everything. And that Mr. Intellect somehow is putting this on little girls and not on the entire system. Yeah, it's a problem, but trusted for a woman to do. That's patriarchy's done.
Depends on the wisdom of the woman, obviously, but well, it does, because narcissists can fool naive women. That's why narcissists propagate, by the way. And we know this because narcissistic psychopaths, young women are.
I'm sorry, I only just got that. Is the reason that it's genetic? Like narcissist, sociopath, like the mother could be like absolutely loving and warm and give birth to a narcissist sociopath's genetic seed, which he's probably not around to like look after. And they're going to grow up to be narcissists. No, fucking no. If he sticks around, probably, and sucks their family dry, probably. Narcissism is a trauma response, especially trauma in childhood. So the more traumatic your childhood is, the more narcissists we have amongst us as adults. And the more traumatic life is, the more sociopath is. Yeah, sociopath is more genetic. But the narcissism part, we have, no matter what, no matter how kind and amazing and whatever we are as a species, zero trauma, we will have sociopaths. We will have people who all along the empathy who have zero empathy for other people. When they don't have traumatized childhoods and they have a village who helps every individual figure out who the fuck they are and how to use their gifts for their own benefit and the benefit of society, and not, we're going to tell you who you are, and if you're not this, you're broken and wrong, then sociopathy isn't broken and wrong. It's part of the greater good. And the one person out of 100 having very low empathy is a gift to everybody else when they're not put in charge and told that they're like entitled to everything. We can see with our eyeballs the diversity of nature, the diversity of our species that is visible, right? Our skin color, our height, our weight, we exist along a spectrum. People that are very over and under is the wrong word, but very over and underweight, over and under height, and like average. You're going to get less and less people as far out in the tails for the normal distribution as you get. Every single trait is like that. Patience, empathy, pain tolerance, needing sleep, needing food, calorie intake, like heat tolerance, cold tolerance. We exist along a spectrum, and you're going to have, because of genetics and because of culture, different groups of people that are going to be better or worse at those, and you're going to have individuals born within those groups that are better or worse at things. And there are genetic traits and cultural traits, and we're not great as a species at distinguishing between the two. And the world over, we've put children in charge of not in charge of adults. What am I saying? Like, children are supposed to be in control of their emotions in brains and bodies that don't function that way, when adults who finally do have brains that should function that way clearly fucking can't, because they were treated like subhuman when they were children and weren't taught emotional response, weren't taught. So like they grow up and traumatize the younger generation because it was done to them. And we just do that on repeat instead of looking at like, oh, we could have it like the elite of this world benefit from traumatization. They benefit from war. It creates money. It creates power. It creates concentration and fear, concentration of power because of the fear it creates. I forgot what I was saying. 1 second. Our society is set up very wrong, very well. I went through it, so now you have to go through it. And because the 1% that thrives off of trauma is going to create, let's say, like 1,000 babies to go through trauma so they get the best athlete, the best musician, the best actors, the best scientist, the best whatever the fuck it is that they want for their betterment. The more trauma, the better. Because us as a species, if you have 1,000 people go through trauma, you might have 1 or 2 that really excel. And you might have 500 die. But, you get those 2 and they're just objects. Who the fuck cares if children die? It's not you dying. It's not your narcissistic self dying. It's just children. The only way to compete with our narcissistic, competitive, fucked up world is to have individuals come alive on a different level. A level that isn't anything like that. That is, believe it or not, the Venn. Everybody doing what they want to do, what they can do, and are aware need doing. And in so doing, allowing everyone else to do their part, trusting in other people to do their part, and weaving those parts together. Every genocide, violence, patriarchy, white supremacy, fucked up shit in our society is one person putting their will upon another. Is one person saying, I know how you live your life better. I'm going to co-opt your labor. I'm going to force you to take care of my children. I'm going to force you to have my children. God, I'm going to force you in the name of God, out of love. Couldn't God do that? Don't you think God could do that if God really wanted to? And yes, trauma is also passed genetically in a lot of ways, which is part of how our species heals. Like, the idea that I think this is how it works. I might be wrong. After you've gone through a famine, your grandchildren might have more of a gene for obesity. makes sense because, right, no food, we need to be able to store food, pass on, but our fat phobic society says like, oh, so don't starve people, otherwise you get fat grandchildren. Like, no, that's I believe autistic people. I did a TikTok so long ago, talking about how a lot of autism is people being hypersensitive or hyposensitive to drugs and chemicals, and how I believe we are nature's way of fighting back. When you have more chemicals in the water and the air and everything else, you have autism on the rise, and we like both were more disabled. We like in a very real way need more lifelong care, and also we are the basically what the 1% does to their kids of like creating the Pareto distribution of people who are fucking excellent at a tiny little bit. The issue is we don't have the well, we don't have the entire network of people working for us, just our own little personal trauma. And yeah, from Palestine to Britney Spears, our liberation is connected. It's all or none. There is no 252 state solution. It's a 0 state. Nobody owns land except every square inch of this globe is owned. It's emancipation of our mother. And every square inch of her is owned under the patriarchy, under capitalism, under the agricultural guise of like, I worked this land. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. Even when you did, no, you didn't. Every calorie is a gift from nature. And yet our ignorance to that and our hoarding of resources is detrimental to our soul. Every religion couldn't be more clear on that, and yet the like concentration of money and power of every religion showcases they don't believe in their own fucking lie, or they're lying so deeply to themselves, and that's the evil or ignorance. Every single time, doesn't matter. Are they ignorant to the fact that they're so hypocritical that like they clearly don't believe in their own fiery pit of hell, or they wouldn't be harming children? It wouldn't have naturally created white supremacy out of Christianity. You would have naturally seen every human being, every baby, regardless of if they looked like your baby or didn't look like your baby, as a gift from the Creator. At least the able-bodied ones. The deep ableism in our species is maybe a little different, but like our babies are more precious than your babies is a clear indication of our insanity as a species. When the very God that gives you that entitlement also preaches we're all one, right? Or that we're like all equal. God didn't, nowhere in the Bible does it say if you're white, you're good to go. It does say in the Book of Mormon, I believe. Somewhere in the Book of Mormon, I do believe it says, but nowhere in the Bible does it say that. And yet the white supremacy that has been created. That documentary was deep last night. It was my second time watching it. We should watch Israelism. I think that's what it's called. It was my second time watching that one as well. Tantura, but I don't even remember where I saw it. It's like the universe, when I have a question, just like opens up. It's like, here, like if there's other movies that I in no way I'm able to watch or see. The Passion I didn't have available all year, and then it came out and I was trying to watch it and I was like, oh, subtitles, and my brain can't. Nope. Other movies, subtitles totally fine. Not that one. Maybe another time. I just watched Man on Fire, Denzel Washington, which I don't even quite remember how I found my way there. except that it's a 2004 movie, but it was one of the actors that was in it. My algorithms be algorithm hard. I mean, if I had a documentary film crew follow me around, I don't know. I feel like I'd either be in an insane asylum or be at world peace. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's just the constant refrain. Like, it's like, there's like the big signs and symbols and stuff that run through my life parallel, but there's also just like the daily fuckery like this. Like, look, this is just from, is this even on? I feel like this is from a comment on one of Ali's videos, maybe, but I don't remember how I found my way to this site, so don't quote me on the how. But sorry, it was a little bit of I need to cough. I need to cough and get water. Give me a second. I'm just going to put it up. All right, now I'm back. So I was in no way, I now completely forgot where I was. I'm gonna look at the comments after and do what I was doing first. Eric shoves his hands in his pocket. So this was on someone's playlist from someone that commented, I think, on one of Ali's videos, or maybe one of my videos. But I don't know. The following path. But finding my way to this one, the fact that it's called Eric was the reason I was like, okay, I will click on this one. I don't think this thing was anything. July 13th. Yeah, that's not huge. But the videos, the first and last, was it the first or just the last? May 12th, which is it's the other date that Ali put out a video on me on her YouTube channel, like the 20-minute one that's just me. And it's also Madeline McLean's birthday. Am I on the right one? Yeah, May 12th. Day Ali posted. Steve Baldwin's birthday. George Vancouver dies. I think that was just his last name was. And Katharine Hepburn's birthday. What is my point? So that was not that's, you know what I mean? May 12th is not a giant date. It's not anything that stands out, but it was more that was that the latest or the oldest? Like, yeah, that was the oldest. The latest one, though, is November 17th, which is Rachel McAdams' birthday, the person I was with on 9/11's birthday. And it's just like all of the dates and people and places intertwined in all of it. I don't understand. Now I'm like, which one? Which one are we talking about? Oh, The Passion. Yeah. I remember watching it and I talked to my Christian mother and it was like, wow, Jesus sacrificed a lot. Like, if he was a real person and if he was here and the lie you raised me on wasn't a lie, then yeah, for someone to choose to go through that level of pain for anyone, let alone for everyone, and yet does that not diminish it? Like, to go through that much pain for one person, like I would go through that for my child so she wouldn't have to, or for, but to go through it for everyone is, anyway. But God can't even take our anger, right? Sent his son to suffer 3 days on a cross, and then who was fiscally violent? I just watched the Pay It Forward, which is a movie that I can't seem to find anywhere. Like, it's never on Netflix, which, I mean, that doesn't mean anything, but it's on my streaming service either. And anyway, I guess it was a flop in the theaters. It has Kevin Spacey in it, and Kevin Spacey was also in the one that I did. That one of the playlists has very quick lives where I just put things in the description. and one of them is the Mary Falange, I think her name is, case that started the Anti-Defamation League, her murder, and the subsequent trial, acquittal, and then group killing of a Jewish man. The pay it forward is, yeah, Haley Joel Osment and him doing Haley Joel Osment and him doing the, well, pay it forward, so that you do 3 life-changing things for 3 people who do 3 life-changing things for 3 people, and it sweeps through Hollywood. And I just watched the trailer again. I did watch it when it came out. But it has Kevin Spacey in it. Like I said, this other one from the 80s, 88, also has Kevin Spacey in it. Who, of course, is not the point, though. It also has Jim Caviezel in it. Something has Jim Caviezel in it. Paid Forward has Jim Caviezel in it. He's the homeless guy that Kaylee. I was like, the fact I can pick that man out now is astounding. It's kind of just like a mediocre white man, but like after playing, I wouldn't have known him apart from like his Jesus role. I wouldn't be like, there's Jesus. I can't. With all the people that repeat. And that he shares the birthday of my little cousin who died of cancer, and the Sedin twins. And then everyone did shit on his birthday. Like, I orchestrated none of that. None of that. I'm like, did I even do it with my sister? I mean, like, she sent the thing on February 19th, and I was like, February 19th, here's the video. And I do believe that, I mean, that was Jim, and I then took it over to the private chat, and we had that whole thing. Is, you know what I mean? I didn't orchestrate that part of it. Maybe Kevin Spacey is from another planet? No idea. I was looking it up because it is kind of what I need almost the opposite. This whole idea that everything's happening in the right time, and I've been like brought to rock bottom, more stress put on top of me, more and more stress will just keep being added until someone comes and helps, because like that's again just how life works. We can't help someone if we can't listen to them. That no doctor, no every, like, it's like, right, no, that was step 1. Clearly, I just didn't know that until I got to rock bottom, that I'm not putting up with any fucks from anyone until I, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, we are where we are. What was my point of any of that? Yeah, that I need like multiple people to come and help in my life, which I've been communicating for a very long period of time, feels like. But the idea is like, once I know what I experienced last year in January and what has been happening, the signs and symbols, just all of it, what I was already sitting on that saves the world, what happens when I'm listened, like, right, no, I can't do the bare basic functions of life that literally anyone can do. They take too much energy and too much brain power. And that part is declining. It's not going to get better, which is why there'll be no breaks from the internet for me, despite the fact that's the best, you know what I mean? Like, advice for anyone else. I don't get breaks until like real life support. Like that. It's just how it is, because this is where I have to get help for me and my kid. And she's who I care about. So it's like, right, for her to get her life improved in any fucking way from where it is now and not have it decline, I need to be right fucking here. Literally, clean my kitchen or be right fucking here. It makes more sense to be right fucking here. Because this won't get this will get my kitchen clean forever eventually, but it won't actually clean my kitchen, right? And it's the constant doing. And it bringing like everything and all the meta that led to now, the child stars I know my mind's ADD, and I need people to come make it verbally make sense to the rest of the world. It's been the case all along. But I've known how to save the world all along. And I've been saying I can't do this other piece, and it's my health has been declining. It's like, it's not even something that's it's just like bare basics. Like, we need human connection. And when people don't see or hear you, you shrivel as a human. So I'm a little shriveled as a human. Once I have people in real life who could see me and hear me and do the bare fucking basics, of, you know what I mean? Like, right, if I have to plan the event or I have to like get to the event, that's too much brain function. So I need to be picked up and right? Like, it's like, that's not asking for the moon. But if somebody thinks I'm being lazy asking for that, or that I'm overly entitled asking for that, or that I'm even just even asking for it is too much energy. Like, it just needs to be included in every event that me and my kid are invited to, that we're going to be picked. You know what I mean? Like, that's part of including us. I don't remember my point what that was, but like that. Oh. The domino tipping over, the whole, like, I know where I am at this point in time, and everyone, like, Allie's version of what is happening and her version of my mental health is like, yeah, no, sweetie, that's not what the fuck is going on, right? I've been very clear on my physical health, on my, even when I was in the closest moments to psychosis I've experienced in my life, which are right after my brain surgery, my brain swelled, and Eric was looking after me. And maybe the time in January, and that was because time slipped away and I'd never experienced that before. I was like, this is weird. And then I was able to like zoom in and zoom out of it. It was awesome, honestly. I would give basically anything to be back at that time, energetically. And all it takes is other people. And that's the key of like, we are an interconnected species. The narcissism in our species and the fact that we believe and listen to people with clear line in their past, and that like their lies don't add up, and it sounds so sweet, and we love a story, and we want there to be like a villain and a victim and a hero, and that's just like so nice and easy. Except that's like fundamentally not who we are. And us needing that to be the simple story means that, like, well, then for us to be the villain, or sorry, for us to be the hero, there needs to be a villain, there needs to be a victim. We're all living our own lives as the main character, and we're secondary characters in each other's lives. There are 8 billion huge blockbuster movies going on, and we're all cast in various roles. There's the role that the creator gave each of us, written in our DNA and on our soul. And any step in that direction, any part of igniting that, is payment in and of itself. And there's the path that society, your parents, your religion says you should be on. They might be the same sometimes, but which one do you listen to? Which one are you loyal to? And I can't talk anymore. I'm going to start coughing. So I'm going to put on the other thing, which I was going to watch, which is the Docs podcast for when I was in that moment. My Docs podcast. So I'm going to go get that 1 second. And damn it. I literally went in copy and pasted it, and then copied the one that was in the URL. You know what I mean? That copy and paste it. All right. But the lucky girls. Let's keep it on track. It was at 555. There we go. We're at the start. And I believe these came out April 26th. Am I right? April? Yes, April 26th. All right.
Welcome to Doxed, the podcast. I don't know. I just hope this will be like a space for you, Jubilee, to maybe even just talk through your part in this story from the beginning, from your perspective, and use it to just.
Also, I don't remember what day we did this on. I know somewhere, like I think even in one of the other ones, I might even have said what day. Feel like it was maybe February 11th, and if it was February 11th, I would like to know it was February 11th because that's emerging as a important date.
Just talk about whatever feels like it needs to be aired at this point, because I'm hoping this will be a little bit more of a safe space just because it's off app to do so.
Yeah. Sounds good. I mean, I came into this as a somewhat follower of Allie's. I definitely wasn't a huge fan, but she was autistic and I thought autistic and working in this space. And so I was following her and I found her a little bit too much of a bully. So I unfollowed her, just fairly rare for me. But then for some reason, her stuff started coming up on my page again around the time that around the 10th, when you had your run-in with her and Jane, when you started having your run with her. And then I was treating her more as an anti-guru as I do, and deconstructing my part, like my thoughts about the whole situation from afar, right? My thoughts about how she was treating you, my thoughts about how she would, that I could see the bite model coming into place, and that she was like, it seemed to be that she was actually starting a cult because her followers were acting in such weird ways when she would point them at people. And so I don't even remember what order I then like her. I don't know if I already knew she had a YouTube channel or not. It has like under 3,000 subscribers. And I have this all cataloged somewhere. I'm like, but the timeline feels also interconnected. I do have the actual timeline sitting here for that one issue, but not that timeline. So then something stuck. I don't even remember at what point somebody put that clip up of Regina George at the assembly at the end of Mean Girls, when it's like, some of us don't need to be here because some of us weren't bullied. And then they're like, yeah, okay. Who raised their hand if you're been impacted by Regina George? And like everybody, including the teachers, raised their hands. And that she so clearly was that. And for some reason that unlocked the code to like this whole Mean Girl high school on TikTok. And how like then the burn books was like, in the movie, they have burn books between the three of them, right? The three plastics, and they're secret. They're like to bond over. They make fun of everyone and say the meanest things. And then at the end of the movie, Regina George goes and tells the principal. And then as the main character's getting in trouble for it, or she also spreads it to the entire high school so that everyone can see who said this. And that's why the assembly ends up happening. And of course, burn books online are not anonymous at all. They're public, they're based on rumors, and watching Allie just like spin everything, but have her, it was like her followers en masse seem to be allergic to truth and evidence. And then, and not only that, I felt like I must have a little bit because I followed her before. I didn't see it until I saw it. Now I can't unsee it. Like, it's like she never gives evidence, just that like the assumption of evidence, that there could be evidence that she's holding back. She labels people as stuff without any evidence, like her abusive ex, and says some people are autistic that aren't, and other people are like, it's just so gaslighting that everybody who's involved ends up getting exhausted. And it has been and it's been interesting because I like paused saving the world, for lack of a better term, to like take out this mean girl on TikTok because it's a microcosm for something so much bigger. Like, her platform is dangerous. She's dangerous for a platform, and she's not alone. She's not the only one. But there's these narcnados, I don't remember going at, but like who are out there with followers who like causing havoc and destroying towns and blaming everybody else. And I know that wasn't very linear, but questions?
That's okay. Well, first of all, I wonder if you can talk more about what the burn books look like to you, and because I know you've kind of used Mean Girls as like a metaphor for how it's going on and that you watched it. And I love the kind of the contrast of like Mean Girls and Lucky Girls. And I wonder if maybe you can talk about like how the kind of Lucky Girls rhetoric came in for you and what that means to you.
The Lucky Girls mostly was, it's a cute trend on TikTok. A slight, like, I probably could have written Bright Sided if I could have written a book. I had brain tumors. I don't talk to family because of toxic positivity and them feeling like I could not be disabled if I just thought positively enough. But also thinking you're lucky and allowing the universe or God to take care of you is going to make you slightly more lucky. And that can apply to everyone. It doesn't make racism go away. It doesn't make your disability go away. It brings a little more luck into it. And there seemed to be this very clear difference to me between people who, the Lucky Girls is because it was Lucky Girls versus Mean Girls, and I years that if you're standing for truth or standing on truth, it doesn't. Can you imagine if we weren't standing on truth? Because it's this dizzy causing, even though we have truth on our side. Like people stepping up and doing what's right, it takes so much less orchestration than anything that needs a central planning, right? To be like, oh God, check with the leader, but the Lucky Girls, let's keep it on track. So it just seemed to fit. It just seemed to be something. And I'll share this piece of it that I shared with you at the time. I ended up watching the movie Mean Girls. Well, I had this big on my whiteboard, Lucky Girls versus Mean Girls, and the whole burn book and a whole list of the cast. And my daughter was like, who are the Lucky Girls? We're in the middle of watching Mean Girls. I was like, I'll explain later. She was like, no, it just said Lucky Girls in it. And there's a character who's like a secondary character who comes in a wheelchair, and it's the scene where they cut out the tank tops and it says Lucky Girls on it. And it was just so perfect. And there's all these things that happen in.
Yeah, there's so many like I would call them synchronicities, but just fun little, parallels. Like we both have the initials JB. There's just a bunch of them. I love the role that first of all, I totally agree with you. There's this like intuitive level that you can operate on when you're just sort of operating in truth. You just follow your gut. It turns out that you're right, and there's a distinct difference in who gets to just follow their gut and who has to try really hard to cover themselves at all times. And then I love the role that you have come to play in this Jubilee, because you've been such a collector of information and truth. And you've been such a, you've had this, I don't know how much you want to speak to it, but you've been putting out content and kind of insisting, I'm not an influencer. I'm just, I'm just having these like one-to-one connections. And that has proved to honestly be so important to all this, and such a powerful, powerful thing that I think has built like a network of people who can, form a coalition and kind of go up against this big thing and act together out of intuition. That's all kind of come from what you, I think, had been talking about before with your One Free Society. What is it called? But I'd love if you talked about that more.
If we talk about my projects, we get very confusing. But my last project that I was involved with was One Free Community, and it's on TikTok. And it's still in existence. It's still amazing. It has a Discord. I was trying not to bring it in too much during it because I don't want it to get flack from Allie and like have people join it, like hate join it, or just not deconstruct and join it and cause havoc, when it is a real community that people have been involved in for a year. But the one-to-one connections, I mean, something weird happened to me during this whole thing where I got this huge download. I mean, I think people next to me kind of thought I was in psychosis. I maybe was, I don't know. I lost the concept of time. My kid had to like walk me through ordering a meal, but also I could see how deeply everyone was connected with these one-on-one connections. And if everyone could see what I could see in that moment, in those days, there would be no capitalism. There would be no colonized, like none of that would exist, because it doesn't exist. Like we're already so interconnected, and it goes beyond race, beyond class, but we don't know it because we're so focused on the celebrities. We're so focused on like the rich people's interconnections that we're like, wait, no, everybody has them. Everybody is interconnected at a deep level. And I could see that on TikTok because of who was on TikTok, both with my projects, with my past life, who was on there with a following, who I was already who I knew from my life, who were like in my phone. It's just, we're deeply, intimately connected. And so our one-on-one connections, that epiphany came through this, through like even figuring out I want to save the world, but I'm a mother. and not focusing on that one-on-one connection and not focusing on my one-on-one connection with each of my family members and new people. And anyway, yeah, one-on-one connections are the key. And doing it in this way, where realizing Allie seems to treat her entire following as a one-on-one connection, and how toxic that is. Like, that they're her best friend, her following, and that's not a friendship. It's very confusing.
Her whole following as a singular entity.
Yes. Yeah. And then they, because they're in a parasocial relationship as individuals, right, they want her attention. They want to get closer to her. They want to be that friend that they think they can be, even though, like, and so they're going to be willing to do things they wouldn't normally do, like put out an entire series on someone about rumors, whether that's putting their face and name on there, thinking they're right and not looking for evidence, or making a burn book account and not putting their actual identity on it. And the like amount of ableism and racism that they've just like feel entitled to, and that the comment section on TikTok is just a completely different breed because of how because it's so easy to make content and so easy to comment, and like it changed the dynamic in a way that creators are paying a huge price on TikTok for this parasocial relationship. All of them. And so, yes, I have been on social media for a long time. In fact, if I could tell my social media journey, that would tell the story of like my world saving projects. I might do that at some point in time. But I've been collecting one-on-one connections basically because of my disability, because I can't network and I can't do any of, like, all I can do is have one-on-one video connections, one-on-one conversations. And sometimes then never again with that person, even if I want to. And so anyway, I have a lot of one-on-one connections, and I felt like there was a point I was going to get to, but I don't remember what it is now.
I mean, I just think it's very powerful. It's basically like, to me, it's like mutual aid in a way. Like, mutual aid doesn't always have to be money. It can be, but it's a lot of times just like these one-on-one connections. Exactly. And then I also just love that everyone kind of comes in, and because it's this loose network of trust built up over time, and more with some people than with others, rather than we have to be in a lockstep formation and any dissent is punished or it's no kind of approach like that. I love that everyone is bringing kind of their own thing, their own talent and skill set and energy into it. And one of the things that you've brought into it is this very precise eye and the ability to you've been putting out a lot of content that's not getting a lot of views. And I don't think you want it to, but it's helping me personally so much, because you're cataloging things, and you're noting dates, and you have this lovely whiteboard. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but it's just like, it's like you're like an external processor for me and some of the stuff I've been thinking through with it.
That also, the cross-pollination of ideas, right? Hearing something that like, you're like, wait, did they see my video on that? And is that where they got it? Or did they get it somewhere else, right? Or did they come up with it? And it's like, that's not plagiarism. That's just the beauty of collaboration and cross-pollination of ideas. And I love it. Like, if you're not in competition and you're in cooperation, it's like, oh no, what if you help people that don't help your followers? Only I can help my followers, right? That is and I do remember I was going to say that I'm not a social media influencer, that I was on social media trying to find people to save the world with. And at the same time, since I wasn't concentrating on my one-on-one connections, it was just about finding more people and not concentrating on the people I've already found and already know. And Allie unlocked something in me, because part of what was holding me back was this fear of just being famous because I don't want to be, but like also this fear of like, what would fame do? What would money do? What would something do to me? And I don't think that's going to be a problem, because I don't think I'm trying to social experiment on TikTok to have my audience not fall in love with me and connect with one another and explore the parasocial relationship. I'm breaking it in other ways though, where I'm trying to project onto them as not a single person, right? Like, if I don't know them as a single person, they keep showing up as a single person, and then I have to like them and not be mean. I end up liking them and not being mean to them, right? And I'm like, damn it, you're breaking the experiment. Supposed to be able to project onto you as a whole. I'm not supposed to grow here. You're supposed to grow.
Well, it's all a bunch of mirrors, right?
One thing I really appreciate about your involvement in all of this thus far is that there are a lot of people that have been directly harmed and are still being actively abused by Allie every day. There's so many of us. It's like, you can't even count how many. For those of us that have come together in the last couple of weeks, there have been so many offers of help. I'm saying that in air quotes because it's not always help. sometimes that offer of help is just a way into the drama to try to leverage our stories to build their own platforms, to make their little burn book account blow up and take off, because we're trending right now. Our abuse, our harm is trending right now. And what I like so much about your involvement is that you are helping in your own way by collecting information and getting the details straightened out in a way a lot of us can't right now because we're focused on survival. But you're not centering yourself, and you're not having those side conversations like, oh, I found out A connects to B and connects to C, so this means you can't trust this person, so don't trust this person. You're one of the few that's not doing that, and I appreciate that so much, because those of us being actively abused every day, we're in danger. We're in actual danger. It's not just TikTok drama. It's being in survival mode for weeks. It's being scared to look through your comments and look through your DMs because you don't know what kind of threat is going to be there. It's not being able to use your voice on your own platform that you've built forever because it's not a safe space anymore. You don't know who's watching and who's recording. And it's been so disheartening to see people within our little circle making it harmful from the inside, and you're not doing that, and I really appreciate that so much.
Thank you. And I think that one, this isn't my first time here, right? This isn't my first time. Like, looking back, I'm like, oh, I've gotten involved before, but more involved. And this time I've gotten more and less involved. But the other times that I empowered the situation, because it's like, well, if someone's not going to do this, I have to do this, right? I have to have a solution raising on anti-MLM. I have to start a Facebook group on deplatforming previous guru, previous one, when secrets came out. I would never call Ali a guru. But I would call her an anti-guru though. But the one-on-one connections, it's so easy to have an agent provocateur, whether that's just because there's a certain amount of narcissistic people or a certain amount of people who just need to be right and get their own way. Or actually paid actors from the outside, you don't know. And this mean girlness is like a clique. And it is very much that did you hear what she said about you? Oh my God, did you breaking this trust to bond, right? To bond with an influencer, bond with somebody else. And if you focus on one-on-one connections, that doesn't happen because it's like, well, do I have a one-on-one connection with them? And who's this new person telling me this? Do I have a one-on-one connection with this new person? Because focusing on one-on-one connections, I mean, ours are all very brand new, less than a month old, right? And I think you two kind of knew each other before a little bit in a
little bit,
TikTok
not
way.
in a one-on-one way though. It was like a doubly parasocial way, I would say.
Yeah.
At the time.
And anyway, that the one-on-one relationships of seeing consistency, seeing truth, seeing logic, seeing following evidence. And that doesn't mean people have to be perfect and not make mistakes, but what do they do when they make mistakes? And even I hate apologizing. I don't like it. And so even coming back later and realizing you made a mistake about a mistake can be a way of gaining power, right? But to just constantly deflect and not take ownership of anything and lash out at anyone close to you in the most evil and horrible ways is interesting. It's horrible. It's horribly interesting I wouldn't know what Allie's going to do next because she's shockingly, I want to say unique, and I don't think that's true. That's the scary part. Is I think a lot of influencers end up being in this category.
Yeah,
because it draws them in. And then there's people who want to have this position to help people, to inform people, to connect people to one another, which is what I would say I was doing before. Is all of my groups were that, but me connecting with people one-on-one or in small group video chat and connecting other people with each other. And that will be probably when I return to amidst the stuff. But anyway, from where I was, one-on-one connections and small groups and no clicks. It's they just want to, they don't have their actual physical selves on the line in any way, shape, or form, and they just end up causing more drama and not understanding. I mean, every time I see Ali's side or try to do what it is I'm doing, they end up doing it very badly and poorly, right? It works differently on the side of truth and on the side of interconnection that isn't centrally focused on one individual.
Yeah. And you've talked about water carriers before. I wonder if you can talk more about that, because I love the concept. It's very Aquarian to me. And also it's just I love that you tie it to kind of like who's putting their reputation on the line. I think that makes sense as like a litmus test in a way.
Definitely correct me if I'm wrong, because I may have this wrong, but I feel like I got that from Natalie, the term water carrier, where I was listening to one of her videos, and I've yet to meet Natalie one-on-one, but I got to find her through her sticking up for you,
Yeah,
Jane.
I think you're right.
That she had mentioned something about water carrying, and I'd heard it before in that context, but there was something that clicked in, like, yeah, learning to carry, especially around what I've been doing with intergenerational and race work, of like, especially white women learning to carry our own water and learning to get it wrong and apologize and learn to sit with our own emotions, because I could basically see at the end of 2022 how our entire colonization, forced Christianity, and capitalism was caused by white Europeans not dealing with their shit, not dealing with their connection to the land, not dealing with the connection to each other, to their king, to anything, and basically going to making that everyone else's problem, including our own children, especially our own children. We did to everybody else what we did to our own children first. Like, we sent our kids to boarding school, and then we forced other people to not parent their children because we didn't want to parent our own. And we forced other people to parent ours.
Well, I think it's like not only it's intergenerational trauma, and it's the same kind of thing that trickles into a following when you're an influencer or somebody that's a leader of something like that, a thought leader who hasn't unpacked some of that same exact shit. It leads to the same problems, but in sort of the microcosm of the following, which like in this case becomes very cult-like, because it's exactly those same problems of colonization, forced thought or whatever.
And that, like, it's like forcing your beliefs on others, or learning to work with, live with, or separate from people that we don't share the beliefs with. Your only option is no, everyone believe what I believe. That's that forced Christianity, even if it's not Christianity.
Well, I wonder who was your first kind of person that you made a one-on-one connection with in this then? And
I think you, Jane, because it was like around my birthday when I just sent you a message, because I don't send messages, but I was like, you said you were all right. You seem to be doing all right with what Allie's brigading force was doing. And so I just sent you a message saying that. It happened to have been on my birthday. And then within minutes was that whole thing about the friends only video that Allie reposted. And that also, like, more synchronicity. And I think it was a couple weeks, or it felt like at least a week, until I had like actual one-on-one video chat. But I was able to connect with people on video, on like text and stuff for the first time, and then get people on Signal, which works for me. And that's cool.
And you've been kind of using that power to uncover rumors with the burn book accounts. And, you seem to have kind of, a lot of people are playing detective and in this. And I think you're one of my most trusted detectives, let's say, because you're kind of using these like one-on-one meetings to uncover some things that are unclear when everybody is kind of behind whatever level of anonymity. And I wonder if there's anything particularly interesting to you about how that's come about, or anything you found out by doing it that way that you could talk about, or you would want to talk about.
I've really only had one-on-one conversations with both of you, and no, that's not true. But that's not true. I was like, but regular one-on-one conversations, I would say, with the two of you. This is what I've done in the other ones, right? I mean, that's not in the big things, but finding people and having one-on-one relationships because I want to find out more about their project or more about them as a person. And it's it could be, it's never half an hour. They're always at least an hour, usually almost 2 hours, because most people are fascinating when you talk to them one-on-one. And it's really hard to not like someone when you're able to talk to them one-on-one and get to know them, at least at some level. And that is what I would love to see, the people who, instead of getting on Reddit and getting involved in a new clique and drama and spreading, like, get in one-on-one relationships, or get in a small group and get on Zoom and have a conversation and exchange information, like actual connection. And it actually helps solve things, because it helps build the one-on-one connections. It helps clear up rumors, because that's what you do, is you go to a one-on-one connection to clear up a rumor. But if it's a parasocial relationship, you can't, and you're not owed that. You can't have a one-on-one relationship with each of your 300,000 followers to clear it up. And you can't just broadcast it at them because they can't ask questions to clarify.
Yeah, it's these receipts or something, huh?
It's the manufactured receipts for me. That's what really throws me for a loop. What you were saying about not being able to have one-on-one connections with 300,000 people so they can't ask questions. That's another thing that comes up with the whole like social cult dynamic. one, they don't want to ask questions because asking questions comes with punishment. It comes with being blocked instantly or called out or a response video made about you. So everyone sees your username and now you have the whole platform coming after you because you've betrayed this person in some way. And I think having a huge platform makes it really easy to avoid one-to-one connections because you're kind of untouchable. A connection with you is sort of unattainable when you feel like you have to weed through so many people that are kind of seems like that influencer is gatekept in a way. One thing that I'm seeing a lot is that I've started the rumor that Allie started a cult, which, okay, I'll take that credit. I mean, it's only in her username, but whatever.
Exactly.
But you mentioned the bite model earlier. What were the first red flags for you in terms of attributing her behavior to the bite model?
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember the moment where like I was seeing her TikToks and I realized that like at the beginning of nearly all of them, she was dictating to her audience how to, one of the four, what was information, what to think, what to feel, or how to behave. And it was done in a way that they like would naturally take action on it in her benefit. And it was like, wow, that's interesting. And yeah, then it was just more and more so. And I think that unless you know what the parasocial relationship is, and if you're needing to be right in everything, that means you only do accept one source of information or your sources of information, right? Everything comes down to bright-sided. Your thoughts, right? Even though we're not our thoughts. Like on our emotions, and only certain emotions are allowed, but the leader can feel all of them and be horrible to everyone, but everyone else needs to be very kind and compassionate to the leader. The whole internet should stop to help the leader. I was definitely saying Allie was in a cult from nearly the very beginning. Like that was literally why I was stepping up and dealing with one-on-one connections. Is like, you're a cult leader, sweetie. I mean, Renee's one of like, how did that video start?
I said, sweetie, are you in a cult?
Oh, and that, like, I even, like, people keep commenting on my TikToks and they'll be like, you're mean. I'm like, and I get it. I get what it sounds like, but they're always on the ones where I'm not being mean. I'm like, did you just not want to comment on the one where I sounded too mean? Or is this really the one you think that on?
Yeah. You've been going through the older content, which is something I actually kind of can't stomach myself. Like, it's very hard for me to watch. And I've gone through at least like the first video that was about me, watched the whole thing. Wasn't worth watching because it was mostly just cussing me out. But then after that, and also there's videos going back however long, there's older TikTok accounts of hers that tell entirely other stories of who she is. And I just don't have the spoons. I don't have the bandwidth, but you've been going through that. And I love listening to your long form content where you're just kind of like going through it and giving some commentary. And I wonder if there's anything in there that you've started to dig into that is particularly interesting or reveals anything to you about the situation, or how people can kind of arm themselves with knowledge about this person's behaviors in the past or anything like that.
I mean, I actually think that this is a great example of the parasocial relationship and creating a cult. And Allie's TikTok account and all of the videos on there that I don't have access to is actually, and then versus the comparison with the YouTube account and the long form content and how she presents it, the juxtaposition of those two is huge. Like, it's like, why is everyone so mad at me? And I'm just trying to be nice and do good. And then you see, like, there's not a single TikTok of her educating people or bringing people together. It's a constant, I'm not going to attack. And like, it's not even a coin flip. It's like, every word's a lie. Everything she says about someone else, she's telling on herself. And there's certain things that are just, I get how I didn't see it in the beginning, but like that one video, I know I reference, but like where she's talking about her friend dying and she's making it all about her. And there's not a single thing in there that makes him sound actually bad. It's just her honestly being mad at him for dying because how dare he?
Yeah, I'm one of, I think, the only people involved in this whole thing that was ever in real life friends with her. And so I've had conversations with her about this man as it was happening. And having been her friend, I can understand why this person chose to not speak to her for years. They chose not to be in contact with her for years. And she just happened to just rip the scab, open the wound and say, why aren't you talking to me? Why can't we just talk about this like adults? Why can't we just talk like adults? Which is like her opening line for people that set boundaries with her. If you set a healthy boundary for your emotional safety, you're not being an adult. You have to allow her to abuse you in order to be an adult. His response, and this is not just me making shit up, there's a whole 4 or 5 part series about him on her page still, but his response to her was, I'm dying, essentially. He was in the hospital and had been for weeks at that point. And I don't know what her point was in trying to rekindle this friendship with this person, even if that was her intention at all. But it quickly devolved into, I need an apology for how you treated me years ago. And I need you to acknowledge my feelings from years ago. And you have to do this and have to do this and have to do this. And the man was dying. Like there was no compassion for his situation. There was no, let's just put this to rest. I have my feelings, but you're clearly in a bad spot. Let me just show you love and compassion, or send you on your way with love and light or whatever. I know she's not a love and light type, but just anything but being angry and expecting something from someone who doesn't have much time on this planet. That's the kind of person that she is. And to paint this person as a narcissist, they have NPD, they have addiction issues, they have this, that, and the third. And it's all okay with her followers to do that to a dying person. But if you mention she has any kind of narcissistic tendency, you're ableist and you're awful and how dare you and you're evil and vile. It just makes no sense. It's like the rose-colored glasses are it's unbelievable, especially when you're her actual friend. Like being in real life friends with her and having real one-to-one conversations with her, you really don't see it in real time. You don't see it even on her TikToks. Where you really see the true her is in her live streams. Like there's a difference between her TikToks and her YouTube, but her live streams, which there are a lot of recordings of those. There've been a lot of people that have access to those and have recorded hours of footage, and that's where she shows who she really is.
The way she hosts her TikTok account, her going private, going public, her lives being completely different than her short form, and then her YouTube being completely different. Because also watching the YouTube videos, like when you take pause and realize this is edited, it's like she chooses to put up everything she chooses to put up. Right now, is she great at editing? Probably not. She's new to it. But it's like you're choosing to put in that mistake and that vulnerable moment and cut after it. And there's other times where like she just cuts mid-sentence and it's like, that was abrupt. And I'm like, what did you say right after that? That even you knew not to put that up on YouTube. Wow. Yeah, that I do believe watching her content and making your own opinion on it, because it almost needs to be you need to encounter her as Allie first before finding out she's a cult leader. And then my channel might be a little bit of a deconstruction. Like, here's walking through, pick one. I mean, they're not very organized yet, but like, and they might never be. But like, pick one, and then what was your favorite one? Which one did you think she came off the best in? And then go and watch that one where I take 6 hours to deconstruct a 1-hour video because of all of her lies and lack of facts. Like, she just constantly implies she has information, receipts that she doesn't have. And you know she doesn't because she doesn't show it.
Yeah, it's a framing effect. It's wild to see her. You know, we've literally seen, here's a green screen behind me of information that is true and that looks terrible. Like, it's not what you would put behind you and be like, see? And she just will. And she's like, hey, everyone, take that down. It's gone in 5 minutes. You know, like the entire account that has the information on it, because no one cares what the information is, because the framing is that powerful. No one cares what's being said. Some of these videos, going back to that first YouTube video she made about me, it starts with her just cussing me out. It's totally disorganized. And by disorganized, I don't mean stupid. By disorganized, I don't mean lacking intelligence. I mean, not logical, not in a way that tracks from point A to point B to point C, just a way that is like throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. You know, the lies don't track. And then she's even just had an entire video of mine, then follows it up with like sad music and then some sort of text like, see, no apology. And it's like, what? Like, unrelated to the video. And somehow people just emotionally get there on that, where they're like, yeah, where was the apology? And you're like, like that doesn't track logically. That's what I mean by disorganized. And that's the long form YouTube videos, especially, I feel like, give that away. Unless Jubilee, you're going back. Are you going back and finding that there's a difference in like this year's content versus last year's content?
So I did, just because I'm doing the timeline of January, I did go back to see when she had posted her last one. She posted a video of there's the autism and addiction one, and there's one on alcohol. I don't remember which is which. She posted one on the 3rd of January and one on the 10th of January when all the other stuff went down. It was like nice of you to post. And I believe in one of them, she is talking about, if not those two, the one before that, she's talking about needing someone to, I mean, she didn't say I need someone to die, but she's implying very much someone's going to die from spiritual psychosis. And she needed someone to die. And then she let one of her parasocial relationships. Does anyone know if she ever actually talked to that person who left the comment? Like had a one-on-one conversation at any point?
To my knowledge, they had made a public comment on her page saying that they were worried about their friend who was in spiritual psychosis or something to that effect. I'm sure there's a receipt. And then a few weeks later, a month later, whatever it was, they then private messaged and said, hey, I remember my friend, now she's dead. And whatever that said.
I don't know any more than either of you. I do remember that there was a comment weeks prior, a friend being concerned about their friend in spiritual psychosis, quote unquote. And then,
yeah,
I don't know about a private message because that was never posted. And we know Allie screenshots and posts everything. She's the receipt queen, right? One thing I don't know if there was ever a follow-up with that person, the DM was never posted.
There were 2 comments that were posted, 2 different comments, I believe.
I thought that the second one was a DM. I could be wrong. My understanding was the second one was a DM to her directly because they were going back and forth. It could have been a public comment, but I thought it was a private comment that she did post. So I could be wrong.
The video that I came into the situation on was a comment video mentioning the woman that died. But as far as DMs go, unless I seen screenshots of them, I'm not sure if there was an ongoing conversation or not.
I mean, it's like this person could have been anyone in that person's life. It could have been somebody who they hadn't talked in 10 years because they felt they were in spiritual psychosis because they're whatever religion they are, and and it could have been an acquaintance. It could have been her very best friend. It could have been the person who made her no longer here on this planet. It could have been anyone. And it could have been Allie. Like, that one I don't think it is, because I think Allie really was like, oh, finally this moment. But anyone could have been on the other side of that comment. It could have been planned for months ago when they first started. Remember that?
My speculation, I feel like that friend was a cult follower of Allie. I'm just speculating. They could have just been a super fan of Allie and heard about Jessica and thought, ooh, this is my opportunity to get attention from Allie because she constantly talks about spiritual psychosis and my friend was into New Age, or this person that I follow was into New Age and they died. They took their own life, maybe. We don't know for sure. Maybe Allie will respond to me if I send her this comment or this message. Maybe she'll go on one of her rampages and I can be a part of it somehow. Which I feel like that's what people are doing now with this situation. How can I be a part of it somehow? That's what I'm thinking happened. I don't think it's as deep as some people are taking it and running with it now. I think someone saw an opportunity and took it, and so did Allie. She saw an opportunity and took it too. 2 people that just wanted super attention and leveraged someone's death for it, honestly.
Now they're making everybody else wrong for it. Hence the new whiteboard. We'll be making that video once we get the last few dates on the board.
Yeah, I love the new whiteboard. It's color coded. It's got a great tint. Do you want to talk about that, or do you not want to talk about it? Because maybe you could talk about what the whiteboard is for and what your timeline is trying to figure out.
Yeah, well, Allie's followers seem to be very, very focused on 3 specific dates of the real woman who died. Right, the day that she left her house, the day her body was found, and the day the 10th when Allie jumped at that comment, and that everyone who had that confused is lying and needs to apologize, when it's like those 3 dates, the actual person who died has very little to do with any of this. It's the other dates. It's Allie making this into a circus and then roping in Renee to actually be really upset about the real person who died without the context of like, did you have a one-on-one connection? Is this their best friend? Is like, who is this person? Right? and then reposting the friends only video that was sent to her like in an instant, right? And yet blaming Jane for posting it friends only. It was like all focusing, like centering herself in this real woman's death, creating the circus, all of it, all in that one little video that her followers are like that's in her YouTube video, that video of her posting that, right? And it says friends only in it. And it's like, how do you anyone watch this and not realize that's what's happening, right? That like, that was a conscious choice to post that to the internet and turn this woman's death into more of a circus.
Yeah.
And that was, I believe, not why it was intended, why it was sent to her. It was sent to her because you thought that that Jane had been threatening Allie. Threatening her because that's what she had been saying, right? And it's like everything makes sense except for Allie. Allie's actions never make sense except when you consider that she's centering only herself and her needs, her wants.
My focus was on the woman that died because that was deeply disturbing and shocking to me. And the fact that my friend, my in real life friend, didn't seem to be focused on that much at all. Like behind the scenes, texting back and forth, in the midst of all this drama, I feel like I was the only one, and like maybe a handful of her followers, were the only ones really concerned about, hey, someone died. Can we talk about that more?
Yeah.
We're throwing out the term spiritual psychosis, and people don't even really know what that is. People are making assumptions, really big assumptions. And now people's names are being attached to this death as someone to blame for it.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we talk more about that? We keep talking about wanting to honor her, but it's not really happening. And I was upset by all of that. And when I saw Jane's video saying, is this person real? What's going on there? Can anyone confirm if this person even existed? My heart was just like, how dare you? I was like deeply offended by that because I wasn't thinking straight. It didn't even occur to me that no part of this was real. That never crossed my mind that some parts of this may not be true. This has gone so far that people are now questioning if this is even real. And you would think that would be kind of a wake-up call, which it was in a way, only to use me to confirm if that person was real. Not quite the wake-up call I was hoping for, but I was happy to do that in hopes that we could turn the focus back to Jessica. That never happened. It still kept going to Jane, more and more hate to Jane. And during that time, being so upset and confused and even angry with Jane, I still didn't understand why she was getting so much hate and why the focus was so split. And when it got to the point of Allie complaining that she's in danger and being stalked and Jane's coming for me and my family, I'm so worried about my parents. And that's what made my stomach drop like, oh my God, this is drama for real. This is really just drama.
Yeah.
And I started to sort of walk back my support a little bit.
Yeah.
How soon after you sent her the friends only video did she post it?
Are you tired of feeling unsafe online? Do you want to learn how to protect yourself from cyberbullying, doxing, and other forms of online harassment? Then look no further than Doxed the Podcast. Visit the website doxedthepodcast.com to sign up for the Doxed free ebook full of helpful tips and resources for online safety. Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive the weekly newsletter with the latest updates on upcoming content. There are many ways to connect with Doxed, including Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. Have a story to share or feedback to give? Use the contact form on the site to reach out or leave a voice message to be featured on the show. And for exclusive content, subscribe to the Doxed Supercast to gain access to the private podcast feed with member-only exclusives. Take control of your online safety and join the Doxed community today.
I sent her that text, and her text back to me was like, someone else just sent me that in DM. So a couple people were sending that, and she responded within minutes, maybe 10 minutes of that.
Yeah. How soon after you made the kind of candlelight video about Jessica did she, because she duetted that, making some face in front of it. Was that like minutes or was that like the next day? Do you remember?
Minutes.
And the framing is really powerful. I mean, I think that's the point. Like, the framing is so powerful that people don't even question it. Even my mother got a video sent to her that was like totally out of context. And again, it's like, it's me with something like spiritual psychosis is dangerous and plastered across my forehead. And my mom's opinion of the video was, yeah, Allie seems kind of cool. She seems reasonable. Because it's just like totally out of context. She really strikes you as kind of cool. Like, I get how she's a comfort creator for people. I get how she's somebody people want to just kind of turn on and hang out with, and even vie for her attention, even vie to hopefully have something to give her that will be valuable enough that she'll turn her gaze toward them in a loving way. Yeah, it's very powerful, that framing. Like, it just creates this whole system. It's an ideology, where an ideology being just something that an entire group of people believe and act as if it's true to the point that it's true. And there's larger ideologies of society. There's this little cult ideology of Allie's world, which frankly is delusional. And then people just operate within that, and it is their reality in some sense, right? Maybe it's not enough people for it to be like an overpowering reality against external reality, but against like the overall society's reality. But maybe it is because it's quite a lot of people that just all kind of believe the same thing. Maybe also because of the types of followers, because we've kind of figured out that a lot of the people that are some of her most devoted followers are people who have autism, people who are parents of autistic people, and disabled people. And that's a large part of the demographic, to my understanding. And it's a very interesting dynamic for that reason as well.
Yeah, the autism is interesting because she claims that she is both autistic and ADHD. I have my thoughts on both of those things. But if she's not, she's not. Because she's not, and she's claiming it, in my opinion, she is harming the autistic community. And the same traits that autistic people have look a lot like what narcissistic people have, but they are also completely different internally, and we act completely differently. We don't generally commit narcissistic abuse, and our masks are different. There's a lot of differences, and her claiming autism and then getting an audience that is a lot of autistic people, both people who I think like her think they are autistic and are actually narcissistic, as well as probably some people who are the opposite, right? Who have been told they're narcissistic their whole life and they're probably autistic. And that autistic people, I don't know if we all fall into one or two, but like narcissistic fodder, that we end up in narcissistic relationships, or we're narcissistic kryptonite. And I think I'm narcissistic kryptonite. And I think that was proven to me before this, because I've gotten into like screaming matches with a few narcissists of like, oh, I really annoy you. Oh, okay. Like that were, because there's no supply. And then I learned my lessons from it and became even more narc kryptonite, because that's the thing, is you just become, and both sides, if you become a narc, what's the other one? Abuse, and you generally end up figuring out how to deal with that, whether that's your parent or a constant partnership. You find out how to gray rock, how to deal with Darvo. And
can you explain Darvo maybe? Because I think we talked about the BITE model, but some people might not know what Darvo stands for, what it is in relation to narcissism.
I know Allie did one on Darvo, and then I stitched it with, actually it's the drama triangle, sweetie, that you're running around. You're doing that. Because Allie did once claiming you were doing Darvo, right, Jane?
Yeah, she did.
Deflect, argue, reverse, victim, and oppressor.
Ooh, you know them way better than I do. I don't know that. But yeah, she did accuse me of Darvoing and making her do reactive abuse, which essentially, if you understand the reality of the situation where she's the abuser in the situation, then what she's essentially saying with that kind of claim is, you made me do this to you, so it's doubly terrible.
Darvoing with Darvo. Yeah. Like, it's like
she's reactive and she's abusive. Like, it's not reactive existence. She's both things.
I'm very clear, and she's just constantly like in all her videos, like, what do you guys want from me? You want me to die? And it's like, no, to be deplatformed. I know that feels like death to you. That feels like a crucifixion, but you are not safe for a platform, and a platform is not safe for you. Unless it's going out to know people, by all means, have a podcast of friends. Only your friends listen to it. Your actual people who know you. Because the thing is you can't be, you can absolutely be a narcissist in real life and hide it from everybody, but you're going to have your supply who's going to know that, right? They're going to know that about you. And so generally your closest relationships are going to know that. You're never going to find that out in the parasocial relationship. But collectively together, I think we can, because I think we can figure out these people act completely differently than other influencers.
Yeah, it is. I think it's like a type of influence.
Yeah, there's been a few people that have said that she does not fit the profile of autism spectrum disorder on any level. And of course, you can't really say that openly and loudly and proudly on TikTok. So you'll be crucified for armchair diagnosing someone or invalidating self-diagnosis. But here's the thing about self-diagnosis. If a physician can get it wrong, Allie can get it wrong. Like if a doctor can get a diagnosis wrong about your personality disorder, about how your brain is wired, you can get it wrong, especially if you don't read a book. You can't read a book about it. All you can do is hold up your books but not actually read them. You might have gotten your self-diagnosis wrong. And I think there needs to be a broader conversation around self-diagnosis. She made a viral video stitching this stuff, and it was not a great video. This guy was making fun of people self-diagnosing and saying, well, I guess everybody gets to be autistic. And she stitched it saying, if you feel like you're autistic, you get to be autistic. And really, like, what's the benefit of self-diagnosis? You learn how to take care of your sensory needs and your support needs in whatever way you can. There's not a lot of resources out there for us, but I mean, that's valid. If you want to be autistic, if you feel like you're autistic, then you get to be. But there are a lot of solid tools out there to assess yourself if you don't have access to a physician, if you don't have insurance. Like, there is an access issue. So self-diagnosis is valid. But I don't think it's really right to say if you feel like it, you just get to be, without taking any steps to really know. Like going as far as you can, taking online assessments or talking to literally anyone that can walk you through those assessments to know for sure. And because you can't really poke at that on TikTok because it's wrong to poke at that in any way, she just gets away with that. And because no one's doing their research and they don't actually know what the autism profile looks like, they don't question it. And if you know, she does not fit the autism profile in any way. She fits histrionic personality disorder. She fits narcissistic personality disorder. She fits BPD, not autism.
Well, and I also don't think that you even need to go as far, like, and yeah, I don't think we're all trying to avoid just armchair diagnosing anyone. It's more about everyone's personal experience and recognition of patterns over a long period of time with this huge amount of context that we all now have. And it's one thing for somebody to self-diagnose and say, I believe I'm this. It's kind of their business. It's another thing for me as a person who identifies as autistic to then come up against somebody who just acts like I don't exist and I'm being ableist toward them, when in reality, our brains clearly don't work the same way. So I'm not sitting here trying to diagnose someone and say, you are this, but what I know is you're not like me. And I know who I am. And when there's a large amount of people experiencing this in the context of the situation, it's not like a one-off judgment. It's like, you have shown me that your thinking style doesn't match mine. It's not, if you're claiming that your thinking style matches mine, that's like an imposter. And that's because of my experience. And it becomes such an easy shield for somebody who wants to take advantage of autistic people, because part of this brain profile is taking people at their word, and like not so much unless you really hyperfixate on learning about body language, like missing sometimes when people are saying things under the surface or whatever. And so when you come across somebody that lies and lies and lies, everything is a lie, it's really hard for even a normal person, but I think especially hard for people on the spectrum to grasp that it's a lie. It's lies and lies and lies. They really want to believe that, like, oh, well, maybe that was a lie, but she's hurting, or like that was a lie, but she's really overwhelmed. She had a meltdown. And it becomes this shield, and she did make these nasty faces. She did she did pantomime violence at people in her videos, but that's just her being autistic. Like, It's a shield.
Exactly. And it's never her being autistic. And it's always almost directed to somebody who's actually autistic. And that is the danger. I will armchair diagnose her because I'm like, you are harming my community. And I know that one of the most annoying sayings of like, when people are like, everyone's a little bit autistic, right? I take that saying a little bit differently, where I'm like, good, STEM, like, do the autistic thing then.
Yeah.
If you're saying everyone's a little autistic, but we should all be masking, F you. And she, because she's claiming autism, is basically doing the mega version of that, of like, but I'm really autistic. No, you're not. And you're turning on actually autistic people.
Yeah.
Like the amount she's made fun of people's smirks and people's tone and word salad. I'm like, you mean complex thoughts?
Yeah.
Like,
I was called a sociopath. I was diagnosed with, not even armchair, just told that the DSM-5 says I have NPD by a bunch of these followers. No, I don't. It's just autistic traits. Like all the things that they were bringing up are things that people with autism do. And somebody who has that should recognize that and kind of almost either doesn't or just intentionally twist it so that it's erased. It's all erased, as if I was not autistic and I'm being ableist towards someone with autism. It's like doubly mind bending because I do have autism. And I think actually all three of us in this particular conversation do.
Part of like armchair diagnosis is that you can't see somebody, right? And they're putting themselves up on TikTok and they're like, people are diagnosing me with, and I'm like, I get what it looks like. I'm emoting a lot in my TikToks. And if you scroll through them, I look very chaotic, but I'm like, you can also choose the exact opposite and you can choose to put that out there. And when you figure out you're autistic, whether it's true or not, you use it as an excuse or an explanation, and more internally than externally. Like, it's like, oh, this is why people kept misunderstanding me. This is why I misunderstood other people. Not every misunderstanding I've ever had is their fault. And I am absolved of all wrong.
I haven't been given any advantage because I figured out I was autistic later in life. I just know that about myself. Therefore, I can heal a little bit. I didn't, I in fact have gotten punished by institutions for that, for trying to share that part of myself. So that's not why anyone's claiming it,
Like her latest thing is telling people that I'm uneducated, I'm dumb, I'm not smart, I don't know what I'm talking about. How dare I talk about cults if I was just in one? One, I was raised in one. I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. I do have a propensity toward high control groups. And to say that I cannot speak on cults because I was just in one, I was in hers, that's really harmful towards me as an autistic person, because I do take people at face value and I don't expect my good friends to lie to me constantly. So the messaging of don't listen to Roxy because she's autistic and she believed me and all my lies. She's not credible because she believed my lies. So isn't she so stupid for believing me and being in my cult? And people are like, yeah, Roxy's dumb. Yeah. I'm dumb because I believed her. She's literally saying it. She's telling on herself right now.
Like, you weren't in a cult though, because you had a one-on-one relationship with her. That is a completely different
I was her friend.
Yes. You trusted your friend when she told you that there were threatening texts, right? You trusted your friend when she said those things, when you saw the real P, right? And didn't know that she hadn't had a one-on-one conversation, because you would assume anyone would if they're going to make this big of a circus out of someone's death. And there's a lot of assumptions that go into it, understandably. They're different assumptions than in the parasocial relationship, where both, like, you could go and confirm it, but why? Because you're just going to assume, right? But I don't think that's a cult. I think that's, like, all of us probably do the bite model with our friends and family, right? And how much do we let people dictate our behavior, our information, our thoughts, our emotions? But if we're letting influencers do it, not so great. But I did want to mention her ADHD, how she talks about Adderall in her brain and her Adderall addiction. She doesn't have ADHD. That's not ADHD brain on Adderall. That's now a damaged brain because you overdid Adderall and you basically gave yourself reverse ADHD because your brain became dependent on medication it shouldn't have had. It never made your brain neurotypical. It made your brain on speed. And then you got addicted to it and you broke your brain. Now that's an addiction is an illness. But nonetheless, that's what broke your brain, in my opinion, based on someone who has a broken brain for brain tumors and radiation and ADHD.
Nobody's picking up on that. No one's picking up on that. As someone who also has ADHD, and a lot of her following have both autism and ADHD, when you take stimulants like Vyvanse or Adderall, you don't get hooked on it when you need it. And I know the same can be true for people that deal with chronic pain for some. If you need that type of pain management, your body needs it. You don't necessarily get hooked on it unless you're abusing it. Pain management is a different thing, but I deal with chronic pain, and I've heard from my doctors, because I would worry. I don't have an addictive personality, but as someone that worries about things like that, I remember asking my doctor, like, and they said you wouldn't get hooked on it when you actually need it, so don't even worry about that. And the same thing is true for stimulants when you have ADHD. You're deficient in something.
I think 16 plus months on, we know this is you faulty. There are people with ADD who stimulants do or don't work for, as well as the addiction piece with pain. That is the lie that was sold to doctors from the pharmaceutical companies themselves. It's in all the documentaries and short, whatever, dramatizations. I'm going to play the conversation, but I'm going to wait to the end of this one because we watched it all the way through. And then play the conversation with Allie and me, just where I talk about her autism and tell her it's narcissism and the influencer part, because it goes so well with the rest. And I changed the title. But I first wanted to, the village for mothers is gone. It's sad. There has never been a village for mothers, not under the patriarchy. Under the matriarchy on Turtle Island, very possibly, but not under the patriarchy. When you have one man, multiple wives, or one man, one wife, and it's his sex drive and God deciding on birth control, you're going to have way too many babies to look after. Therefore, it would make more sense for women to come together, but the only time it seems to be is when it's actually like polygamy and one man and multiple women. And yeah, that actually does work better for the women than one man. And because you have other women, you have other wives at least. That's the closest to mothers having villages that really exists. Either that or it's, you know what I mean? It's the trade-off of how abled is your kid, how abled is your family, how rich, how, and then like if you can't offer more than you can give, and the narcissism and everything that comes into play. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well. Probably not. We'll finish this one, and then I said
and those prescriptions bring you up to par. So if she ever really needed Adderall or Vyvanse or Concert or whatever, she wouldn't have had those issues, and it wouldn't have damaged her brain. And no one's making that connection.
I agree. I don't think the ADHD brain needs medication. I do believe the ADHD brain needs medication to survive under capitalism. And that it's an individual choice to be like, do I want my brain to function more neurotypically, or do I want my brain to function more neurodiversely? I prefer my more neurodiversely when I take ADHD meds. It feels very linear and I don't like it, but I can tell it's neurotypical. Like I can tell there's something that does work about it.
When I've taken Adderall, it brings me up to where I feel I should be to function in a way that's comfortable for me and productive for me. And I can go right to sleep. Actually, on a low dose, on a very low dose, I can go right to sleep with my body.
I can sleep on caffeine. I can't sleep on Adderall. Like it does, it makes, I have chronic fatigue and it makes it so I can't sleep and can't rest. It's one of the reasons they were like, I guess you can just take it every once in a while. And now I don't.
Yeah, well, I think this was a great conversation, but I think it might be a good place to stop. And I am sure more is going to happen in the coming weeks and months, but we're going to
2000 because your work. So just timeline that was the Docs podcast that came out on April 25th, the first half of the bingeable season before Allie went on Narcnado throughout the entire year. She got her TikTok accounts back on August 8th. This conversation took place on October 1st, less than a week before my family implodes and the world starts a public genocide. Yeah, this is October 1st. words, your actions have a bigger impact in the world based on your following.
No,
you have a bigger impact when you sell a story about somebody or an event. You have people believe you, despite not showing proof. You have them believe things about me and my friends, and actually autistic people.
Ooh, okay, let's start there. In what ableist fuckhole are you living in that you think it's okay to call me not autistic?
Well, I started following you because I thought you were a fellow autistic. And then I saw next to zero autism, and I saw narcissism. Pure narcissism.
Do you care to explain that more, Jubilee?
Sure. Sense of importance, preoccupation with power, beauty, or success, entitled, around special people, interpersonal exploitation, arrogant, a lack of empathy, and must be admired.
Where is the lack of empathy? Where is the
only centered Ali Priestley this whole year and asked your entire following to center Ali Priestley.
First of all, my name is Allie. You need to stop referring to this. Is what I'm talking about. You have this crazed idea in me of this big one Allison Priestley. You say that multiple times a day, Julie. I am not a narcissist. I have been in therapy for over a decade.
That doesn't mean anything.
Are you going to listen?
Okay, go ahead.
See, here's the thing. You don't get to decide what I am. Do you? When I call people narcissists, it's because they do things that are actually narcissistic. And you, in fact, agreed with me that Samara is a covert narcissist. Did you not? Oh, don't even act like that now. Don't act like that now. We all saw that live. God, you are such a child. Okay, let me breathe really quick. Do you not think it's a problem for you to say that I'm not autistic? Like, do you not see a huge empathy issue there?
So as I have tried to explain, I know you don't watch my content, and that's fair. Self-diagnosis of autism is absolutely valid, and it absolutely saves lives.
Except for when it comes to me.
Except when it comes to a narcissistic influencer who's using their following as flying monkeys and harming actually autistic people.
Okay, we're not going to use a racist term. We're not going to use
that's not a racist term.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
okay,
is.
Minions. We'll talk about the little yellow guys. They're
not minions. And what do you have?
They're doing what you want them to do. They're taking on your meaning, Allie.
Are you going to go to every single person who has influence on the internet and call them a narcissist and tell them that it's a problem that people like them and like do the things that they suggest? And like, is that this is the internet, Jubilee? You don't get to act like you get to single one person out. Why does Aunt Karen get to do what Aunt Karen does?
Because Aunt Karen is a single individual who's autonomous, who gets to live her life.
I'm sorry, what?
Well, I don't have to say
she has caused so much more harm. She has millions of people that come on every single night. She gets paid to hurt people like she did to me. But you think I'm not autonomous?
Allie, I'm not going to let you use my platform to destroy a Black woman. Okay, so we're not talking about Aunt Karen.
Okay, then let's use someone else. What about our exorcists?
I don't follow any of them. I don't like following them.
What about you?
What about
you? Use your baby platform to try to wreck my reputation over and over again, and you've completely ruined your own little bit of whatever you have going on over here by doing the exact same thing to me that you do to every single person, Jubilee. Anybody who comes near me, you take them, you dox them, you cyberbully them, you make a 2 or 3 hour expose about them. You have done more to other people, innocent people, than I have ever done in the blink of an eye. Directly hurt them, made them feel scared, made them feel stalked, and then you try to string together all these weird correlations and try to call people liars. We're going to talk about actual lies that you think that I did today. I'm going to get a chance to explain them. And you're going to stop putting together all these weird theories. What about Kyle Cease? Why do you need to put together all this weird shit about Kyle Cease? You're not well, Jubilee.
Because I'm Jubilee, Allie. Let's not go into the weird red flag stuff, because that's just
well, that has to do with me.
It does. It definitely does. You have a
pattern of targeting people on the internet, making a ton of content about them.
No, I don't have a pattern of it. I have a pattern of getting involved in events.
Stringing weird things together and being absolutely horrible to them. But let's get back to the real thing, because you don't get to get out of being ableist. I am
Yeah.
not a narcissist. I show empathy. I can say where I'm wrong.
Okay, when have you showed empathy this year?
Oh, I don't know. To you when I didn't call CPS on you?
When you repeatedly threatened to and constantly did and still are doing it by mentioning it now?
Let's get this rumor out of the way right now. Carrie Ann and Rolling Rosemary started rumors about me that I said anything about CPS.
What a perfect time to play this one instead. Oh, right. How influencers get CPS called, because Allie did, in fact, right? Allie's little cult and my family got CPS called on me, and we now have 5 after Erin, autistic mothers that Allie has gotten CPS called on. While la la la, no, I haven't. I don't know how my influence does that. Also, my Amazon storefront buy all these things that will ruin people's lives. Here is this video, and then I'm going to probably end it for the night.
I don't believe it's
Either
Allie.
way,
I don't. Allie doesn't
I
give two
just
shits about me.
explained to you. Okay, Erin, listen. A person, forget it's Allie, is on her YouTube for 2 hours fervently explaining that I could murder my baby. You don't think someone could call CPS because of that?
Yeah, somebody could. You're right. You're right.
Of course, that's the influence. That's how it gets called. That's what I'm talking about. Allie's lying, spinning a lie, no proof. That's how CPS gets called, and especially on on disabled mothers, which is why we're covering Josh on this channel with wheelchair Rapunzel, and we'll be covering that again tomorrow.
I'm into me, everybody behind the scenes. We actually care about what happens to you and that child. Because we know that you could kill her, you could kill yourself. How many people who are like not even as far along in you as like there's people who don't believe that they're in some cult saving the world like you do that kill their children. You're already so deep into religious and spiritual psychosis, Jubilee, that you could snap and kill that child at any time. You could kill her just to blame it on me. I will not let that fucking happen, right? Mystic Lipstick sounded a lot more sane than you, and 3 days later, she pushed her fucking kids out of a car.
It's really fucking clear, right? Allie has compared me to every psychotic mother who has harmed her children. Just anyone she can pick. With 0 proof, she's just weaponizing that I am a mom and I have disabilities, while claiming her disability is the reason nobody can point out her public influencer antics, while roping in the Feltons and their faux money and power. Oh, guys are such good friends to one another. Josh has the best friends, and Katie. Josh of Dad Challenge podcast is besties, I don't know what besties, but friends with a serial break and enterer. I feel like there needs to be a different tagline, but something. Someone help me come up with the tagline. I'll make a video on it, because Josh of Dad Challenge podcast is friends with a serial thief that likes to center herself and pretend she's a much kinder, sweeter person. And so innocent. What am I doing in this house all lost in Goldilocks? Goldilocks! Rapunzel and Goldilocks! I'm just gonna call Katie Goldilocks possibly from now on. That might make it work out better. Katie Felton is, yeah. Josh and Goldilocks.
I will not fucking play with you, Jubilee. That child is not going to be in your care. Bottom fucking line, not until you can handle it. Nobody wants your child to get taken away, but you do. You're giving her up. And now we have actual resources behind us, and you should be scared shitless. And you fucked with the wrong people.
I'm just going to explain this for the like trillionth time to all the future Katies, all the Allies, all the billionaires of the world, my own parents, Tirza. No, I forgot what I was going to say. Come for my cub, and you're going to have the whole ancestors, God, coming down upon you. And you won't even fucking know what that is. All of the shit that will go wrong in your life, I can only imagine. You don't know who the fuck I am. And like any mother, I love my kid. I put her first. I have to climb a mountain for all of fucking humanity. And I will put her first each and every step along the way. Because that is what mothering is. Question that. Come for my cub. Watch the system fucking crumble.
Oh, you thought messing with me was fun. You got away with it, kind of, but you didn't because you ruined your own life. And then you decided to go after Katie for no fucking reason. Do you know what the Feltons have been through in the last few months? No, you don't. And I'm not going to tell you because it's not my business. But they have been through.
Let's see a little bit, right? What Jubilee's been through in the 16 fucking months. This one's been a fucking shit show, eh? Again, CPS called on 5 different mothers, right? 4 of whom I care about. All of whom's kids I care about. I even care about Caitlyn's kids, right? All of the kids. All of the kids. I had a friend go missing. I had a little baby cousin, not a baby, 6 years old, die, never turned 6 from cancer. Well, this one centers herself, right? In every. I had 3 different people directly, very close to me, up to acquaintances, go missing with various outcomes. Had people experience cancer, chronic illness, acute illness. Directly watched multiple people, sat with them, personally witnessed them have psych issues, mental health crisis because of this one and her fucking cult. And I'm probably missing some things. All accumulating in, of course, October 7th. And tears in all over my family, showcasing the narcissism that's in every, I believe, family that isn't a healthy family. And the 99.99% of our families are fucking unhealthy. The Feltons and the Priestleys, not the bastion of healthy. Briscoes, not the bastion of healthy. But healthier than the Feltons and Priestleys, I believe. Yet the Priestley, like narcissistic families who have each other's back, have an advantage in society. That Allie gets to live at home, that Katie has the support of her parents. Well, she's breaking and entering. I know to save the fucking world. And I'm a single parent with a disability, and I will put my kid first every step along the way. While I am the Jubilee. It's on my birth certificate. Like, all the signs and symbols are there. There's going to be this channel's just going to get more and more fun. I don't know what else to say.
Hell and fucking back, bitch. And then all of a sudden you decide to pick this weird little fight. And it's your karma. This is how karma works, right? You fuck me over so hard, I don't have the money to fuck with you back.
That's how karma works. It's all for the greater good. Whatever is for the greater good. You can accept it and weave it in and be grateful for it, or you can narc fucking NATO all over everyone's lives. And that's what most of us have chosen for most of history, which is why we have the world we have. We get to punish everyone and shame baby everyone and get all the narcissists and get trauma grown-up adults that traumatize children who grow up to become adults who traumatize children. Or we stop traumatizing children. Those are our two options as a species. I didn't know that's what I was here to do, but that is actually what the Jubilee is here to do. Smash the patriarchy. Create a world of untraumatized children, because the patriarchy is only designed to create traumatized children. War, agriculture, land ownership, all of it intertwined. When humans human, like I'm just going to keep reiterating the same points again and again. The Bible, following the 10 Commandments, having the man in charge of the household, doesn't even lead to peace among the siblings in the household in the Bible. And those are supposed to be the people we're living up to. They don't even get along with their brothers. Fuck their sisters. They're just property. Why are we living, murdering one another, harming our children, and having way too fucking many of them to be in competition for survival instead of what they actually are, which is gifts from the Creator? Every human being woven into the greater good, everything happening woven into the greater good, including the narc fucking nuggets.
So I have to let it go. And I let it go with the cops until now. But then you can't stop. You can't take grace. You can't let it go. So you finally poke the wrong fucking bear.
Isn't it fun how Allie manifested Jubilee being right the fuck here 2 to 4 hours a day? Because you didn't let it go. Well, you pretended to let it go all fucking year, right? I'm done. Now you're right. It doesn't matter if you're done. Doesn't fucking matter. We're gonna be here all day, every day, looking at the Allie Priestley cult. We have so much content. So much content, Allie. You gifted us that. You're such a gift. All year. I thought it was just my birthday, 2023, right? You just kept being a worse and worse villain, which means being a deeper and deeper challenger. And you taught me the lessons of narcissism that I deeply needed. I really did.
And now they're going to fuck your world up because you can't, like, you've done this to so many people. Sorry, if you're new here, hi.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dad Challenge podcast. My name's Josh. Thanks for joining me. Today we're talking about a brand new creator. She's been on my hit list for a little while. It's Wheelchair Rapunzel. And I'm just keeping like a cursory eye on her about what's been going on with this. Like, she's obviously a child exploiter, but there's so much more to this. And this world of like influencer culture that is it's just gross. And the people who will take advantage of it and all refuse to get real jobs because they just want to take advantage of subscribers and you clickbait and their children. And
Want to say, I mean, Josh and his projections. Fun. Families have a certain amount of earning potential between whatever adults can work and whatever legally children can work. Throughout history, children have had very horrific working conditions up to what we're probably supposed to be, which is intergenerational working together, helping children find their place in the group as soon as they're able to contribute. And when they're able to contribute, it's in a very uncontributory way. It's children have to also go through their own little Dunning-Kruger, and it's stressful to, you know what I mean? Their overconfidence, their overconfidence. What was my point? For a family where both parents have the opportunity, the ability to go to university and or get a job, have parents that are going to help them with the down payment, have all the support, all the help. Choosing to put their kids online and exploit them for a paycheck so they can go to Disneyland, so they can buy tags and get you to buy their stuff in Amazon storefront. You're never going to bring that to zero. And so you're going to leave the worst of the worst online and the most narcissistic of parents, sadly. Families where the social media content or any of the influencer type stuff, like books, courses, anything sold online, that being an influencer is going to help you sell, or right, going to help you become an influencer, right? Having your children involved in that, having them showcased beside you, have whatever that looks like, sharing your experience without them there, has different earning potential based on the market, not based on your family's values, not based on. And so the more you're not willing to exploit your children, the better of a parent you are, the worse you're going to be of an income earner, probably, right? Now you can find other ways to countervent that, but it's not going to like truly overcome that people love animals and children, and therefore having animals and children in your content. From early Hollywood, when we were like, oh, children on set, what does that mean? Of course they can work 12 hours a day and have no breaks. Now it's your parents, and the more narcissistic your parents are, and the more they, they don't have to follow an 8-hour workday, and they like, the more it looks like they're not doing that, the better off you are. And then there's other people who like, right, their family, it's the difference between them being in poverty and not being in poverty. There's poverty porn, and like, right, then you have to look like you're constantly there. You can't actually buy the new house, and it's happening the world over. And people are getting more and more desperate. And watching Man on Fire today, which of course is from 2004, 20 years ago, but like Mexico City with Dakota Fanning getting kidnapped. In places where the US and England has been before, leaving war and murder in their wake, the poverty levels between the really rich and the really poor is very drastic. And when that happens, there's a much bigger incentive for things like kidnapping and ransoms. What happened off the coast of Somalia with piracy, which is probably still a thing, but I don't know, where goes from getting tens of thousands to needing millions to needing tens of millions of dollars in ransom because you're in competition with other pirates. Because like, we create a world of criminals and worse desperation, or we honor who we are and create a world that isn't creating traumatized children, which means not having the criminal justice system, not having cops, not outsourcing our power to the state, to the marketplace, which is fake as fuck. But, what we actually have isn't. I like that I can explain something sometimes better than others.
It's nasty. And there's a massive wormhole, and I'm just scraping the surface today. I'm doing my first video on a video that she's talking about people calling DCFS on her, and we're going to see why she's such a problematic creator. So let's take a look at it. But I can't really blame Hannah for wanting to whistleblow after what she saw, because she left that place. And again, we talked about it in my podcast. She went back and forth for like a week, even with me, saying, I don't know if I can do this. She talked to a lot of people in her life. She didn't want to do it initially. And then she started realizing as Alex was throwing her under the bus and saying all these lies, she's like, I have to.
Oh, here, right? Went back and forth with Josh, convinced to come on. Notice how none of them, I'm just going to play that back. None of that was Ari in danger. That was Hannah's feelings got enhanced, right? Poor Hannah. She lost her employment and then she wasn't hired back in her feeling. And then she called CBS and they didn't do anything about her white woman tears. Oh, she has to come on the podcast and badmouth her past employer and spread her medical information. I mean, like, what other choice does she have? That poor Hannah.
This woman is on the trail of the thief.